EA Sports added a lot to Madden 27 franchise, but we've definitely heard that one before. So today, I'm going to be testing literally everything when it comes to Madden 27 franchise to see if the new features actually work, see if they're actually fun, and ultimately, see if the mode is actually good. Now, I promise you guys, I'm going to be giving it to you 100% completely straight today. Literally going to be holding nothing back. If I think something flat out sucks, I'm going to tell you. If I think something's good, I'm gonna tell you. So today's experiment starts off in the team selection screen, which has the same exact format as last year, just like a different color background. And I do want to use a relatively fun team that has quite a few stars that could eventually request a trade or maybe need a big contract extension. I would go Rams, but they don't have any draft picks. What about the old Baltimore Ravens? Now I do want to take you through the entire coach creation process so you can see some of the new and then some that have been carried over from Madden 26. You have the same old offensive guru, defensive genius, and development wizard from Madden 26 franchise. The new one is the college coach, as you can import a college coach from your College Football 27 Dynasty save, which unfortunately I don't have any. I think Master Motivator is missing that they added into Madden 26. I don't know why that's not in Madden 27. Maybe they add it in a later update, but I think I just want to go with like a simple offensive guru. Now we definitely do have some new head options for your coach this year if that's something that you're into. You can actually sort by skin tone, and you can sort by gender. I mean, it's definitely better, but it's still not as many options I feel like we should have. I feel like in 2026, we literally should be able to scan our face into the game, but hey, at least we got some additions. I'm gonna go with this cat just because he's bald. Gonna be a thick boy. You do have some headset options, which if you don't want to have a headset, you can take it off. You can either have a dual Sony headset, just have a Sony headset on one side, maybe on the right side, whatever your preference is. You can even rock a hat or a visor with the headset. We'll go with the visor, so the bald head's still exposed. You have a few new options when it comes to what you want to put on your coach. Typically a simple guy when it comes to what I put on my coach. Actually, dude, let's just be a little ridiculous instead of just being normal. We'll go cut off sleeveless shirt. You know, you always see coaches on the sideline in a cut off tee, and we'll go khakis. Some of these shoes are just insane for a coach to wear on the sideline, which again, I do think there are some new options when it comes to shoes if you're into that kind of thing. But again, I'm just going to be ridiculous, I guess, at this point. We'll just go with these Diamond Turf 96s. That, my friends, is a Super Bowl winning head coach. And now, my friends, it is time for the true test to begin. Now, you see right from the get-go, like, franchise does look totally different. Like, this is the biggest difference to, like, the main menu and, like, the way it looks visually. We've seen, I think, in probably, like, 10 years or so. I will say, I haven't played enough to know whether or not I actually like the change. There are some things I like about it more, some things I like about it less. Which leads me to the first thing that we're really going to be testing, which is just going to be everything visually that has changed. And when it comes to all the tests that we're going to conduct today, dude, we're going to get very, very technical, and we're pretty much going to test everything you could possibly test in franchise mode. But again, the adjust lineup screen looks slightly different, and there's some things I can't really show you just yet that haven't popped up that's different about the adjust lineup screen. But I will say, one of my least favorite changes in the Madden 27 franchise mode is the new player profile. It's just like a lot of stuff to look at. The player model's not there anymore. It just visually doesn't look good. It just looks like a bunch of font, just a bunch of text, a bunch of numbers on the screen, and I will say, this is an L for me. I don't know if they took the player model off the screen because it like slowed the load-in menus, but I will say the player profile, which again, some people might not care about it, I don't like it. I don't like the new one. Like, you just legit can't see what the players look like. And I will also say, in the edit player profile screen, this is a very niche problem, but like, it's dark. It's like way too dark. Like, you can't really like see what the players like look like too well. I think just simply, it's just not well lit in this screen. So it's like really hard to even get a look at what your players look like within franchise mode. But obviously the new Persona DNA, which you've already probably heard about by now, it's a massive change, which we'll see in today's video. But a lot of the conversations we have with players are completely just ran by what their Persona DNA is in the background. Like, for just a quick example, Lamar Jackson is loyal, which means when he inevitably wants a contract extension from what he currently has, the more likely chance he stays with us than what some other players would maybe in the same position. And also, the abilities this season are tiered. So like, Lamar Jackson has Silver Field General, but he has Bronze Lofting Deadeye, Bronze Pocket Deadeye, Bronze Bulldozer, but Gold No Look Deadeye, and that's all just determined by like the ratings he actually has. But again, like when it comes to like the lineup screen and everything, like my main issue is the player profile. It just doesn't look good. There's just too much to look at, too much font everywhere. Just doesn't look like appealing at all. Now, something you're gonna have to familiarize yourself with is this weekly hub, because everything important you need to see in franchise is gonna pop up here each and every week. There are very few weeks, so there's nothing important to do do. This is where players will request a contract extension. Everything happens here, which when it comes to the players' contract extensions, there's a lot new that got added, and there's a lot that I don't like about it that we'll surely come across today in our experiment. Now, when it comes to the training camp that allows you to upgrade some of your players, you can allow staff to run the training camp, but like for my test so far, I don't feel like it even really upgrades your players. You again can play training camp with your players. Now, I'm not necessarily certain on this, but I feel like there's less drills than what you were able to do in previous years. But like, for example, if I wanted to go in and upgrade Lamar Jackson at the start of the season, I could get the gold on this bucket drop drill, and I could get Lamar Jackson from a 92 overall, potentially up or at least up to a 94 with the +2 skill points if I was able to gold that. So if you want to take the time at the beginning of your franchise, like you can get some pretty big upgrades before you even play a game. But again, this is very similar to last year. Some of the drills are slightly different, but not too much of a change here. And also in the preseason, this is where you can actually make some changes when it comes to your coaches. And yes, this year, the coordinators are in the game. I don't know if every coordinator is in the game, because I don't feel like Patrick Bailey is real, but I know Declan Doyle is. So again, maybe not every coordinator is in the game, but this is the first year we've had, I think maybe ever, where real offensive and defensive coordinators will be in your franchise. Whether or not they end up becoming head coaches, we'll have to see today. And maybe even your head coaches get fired eventually and become coordinators. I will say, like, upgrading your coach and coordinators is very similar to last year, so not much to really touch on there. We'll probably just go ahead and delegate this training camp here, which you can do by the click of a button, which you can do that for a lot of things that pop up in your weekly hub, but it doesn't always like really suit you to do that. Now, one of the most important things that I do want to test together in this franchise before you even get past the first week is going into free agency. This is an off-season free agency, which is completely different this year. It's just your normal standalone free agency. Like, these are guys that are still free agents in real life. And let's just say we want to negotiate with, I don't know, Harrison Smith. Actually, no, we need some offensive linemen. Let's try to bring in Mekhi Becton here. Now, in previous years, when it comes to free agents during the season, it's been one of my biggest gripes. Like, literally all you do is just be able to sign them to a 1-year predetermined contract. But now you can actually speak with the player and negotiate. What you can do is just set an initial contract offer, and let's just say we want to sign Mekhi Becton to a 2-year deal. I'm not going to adjust any of this stuff just yet, and from here, you don't just like send this offer and he accepts or declines. You go into a full-blown conversation with them, and I will say a lot of problems with this. There's a lot of problems. It's a cool start, but there's just so much to look at, man, and it's very lengthy, very tedious, and during the season, and when it comes to contract extensions, it feels rewarding, but when you get to off-season free agency, I don't like it, and I'll explain once we get to that point. But I hate the fact that it just randomly spawns 5 offers, and you don't get the choice of like really what to adjust when it comes to the contract. So you'll see here, off the get-go, Mekhi Becton's interest meter is 53% full. We got to get to 100% for him to sign, and his patience meter is currently at 76%. Every time you pick one of these answers, that patience meter 99% of the time will go down. Once it hits 0, if he hasn't accepted the offer yet, you're screwed, and you're gonna have to wait again until next week. But let's just pick an answer that doesn't have to deal with adjusting the contract. Let's just go emphasize immediate playing time. We'll tell Mekhi Becton he'll probably get to play right away, and that did up his interest a little bit. Now, as you see here, literally all 5 of the answer options changed completely. So, like, at this point in the contract negotiating, if I wanted to up his contract length, I can't. I can't at all. I can raise his bonus by $1 million, which will probably get him to 100%, and just like that, he has signed a contract. But I promise you guys, it is not that easy, especially when it comes to off-season free agency, which is so important. Like, I wish I would have a better example. You know what? Just like for the sake of the testing, because I don't really, like, I'm not trying to win the Super Bowl or anything. Let's just see if it's a little bit more strenuous with Tyreek Hill here. Now, I'm going to go in just straight up with a 1-year contract here. Another problem is, like, I don't know what this means. Like, this isn't even necessarily what the player is demanding. It just randomly sets, like, a contract offer when you get to this screen, and, like, sometimes the players like it. Sometimes the players will decline it straight up and not even negotiate with you. So it's like you don't even, like, know what to do from here, what the player is asking for necessarily. Sometimes you get a better, like, idea in free agency frenzy. I lied. Actually, it's here too. So you see salary overview. His desired years is 1, and his desired pay per year is $18.5 million. So you jump in and you speak with Tyreek Hill, and for whatever reason, the offer is only $14.9 million. And you don't see it anywhere on this screen, so unless you look beforehand, you're just going to have to kind of guesstimate. But I guess what I can do, since you wanted 18 mil, is let's actually, for the test, let's just offer what was set up as soon as we got to this screen. So he only has 56% interest with 59% patience. I'm assuming because he didn't like the initial contract offer. But like you see here, man, like I don't have an option from this point to up the contract length. There's only predetermined set options I can have when it comes to like negotiating his contract. It's like a weird little mini game, and I just feel like you should have way more freedom as the person controlling this. Like if you're gonna make it this intensive, you should have more freedom. Like instead of you just clicking a button, like honestly, I'm at the point where I'd rather just adjust the numbers, like up the years at once, up the salary at once, and just submit it through and see if he accepts or not. Instead of playing like a full-on mini games, it's just so lengthy, and I'm very curious to see if you guys enjoy it, because it gets very, very tedious and very repetitive when you have to do this for your entire franchise, for every single contract extension, every single renegotiation, every single player you sign in free agency, and half the time they don't even, or 90% of the time they don't even sign with you, and every single free agent during the season, not to mention the undrafted free agents. And none of the options I'm given right now are really gonna like change much, like maybe a little bit by little bit. So we'll increase the salary by just 1 million, because I can't increase it by really any more. Okay, I mean, it's not always as easy. It's a lot easier with the free agents currently in the NFL. But again, at this point, I'm not even able to offer him an extra year in the contract. I can guarantee another year, but that's not what you think it is. We'll refuse to raise the salary to see what he says. And the way they respond to some of the answer options all is determined by their mindset and persona DNA. Like some answers trigger bad responses or good responses from players with specific DNA. We'll have to see what refusing to raise his salary does. Maybe he respects that. It actually went up to 100%. You're getting some really bad examples here. I promise you, when it means more, it's way more complicated. But again, you'll see that in the offseason. But you can see from that bit of testing how intensive and how like tedious signing just one player is. Some of you guys might like it. I don't necessarily. Now, one thing that I am excited for you guys to see in this video that I actually genuinely think is a massive upgrade is in the previous Maddens, and it's actually been a massive issue for a while. What I think has been the biggest issue with the Madden franchise is how much everything in the entirety of the franchise, the entire 30-year length of a franchise mode, everything was determined by the playbooks from the teams, by how much players progressed at certain positions, down to how the teams actually performed with their players. Everything was determined by your playbooks. You could have one team go 17-0 with a specific playbook, had that same exact team re-sim with a different playbook, and they missed the playoffs. But this year, that is different, and I'm excited for you to see that. Because I'm somebody that I don't typically relocate a franchise for any of my videos or when I'm playing myself, but I did notice this year that option is, it seems like it is always there in the league tab. I don't know if that was the same in Madden 26, and I also don't know if any of these options are different for the cities, but I know a lot of you guys I do want to see. It does seem like it's pretty much the same city relocation options that you've had in the past couple of Maddens. I know this entire screen looks pretty much the exact same from the prior Maddens. I know Tokyo's an option, Paris is an option, Honolulu, Anchorage, Dublin's still there. Love to see it. But now, finally, my friends, let's advance into the next week, so we can really start getting into the nitty-gritty here. Now, as mentioned, you're gonna have a ton of stuff always pop up in the weekly hub, and a lot of the stuff, again, you can just delegate. Like, I'm not gonna jump in and train with Jacoby Lane myself, so I'm just gonna delegate that to my GM. Well, I do have an introductory press conference here with Lamar Jackson dapping me up, so we'll say this is a pretty neat start to your franchise mode, but it's pretty much the same questions that will give the same results as the prior Madden. So, like, outside of a few visual changes, the entire premise of these introductory press conferences are pretty much the exact same. Like, specific answers trigger specific responses from either players or some of the other things within your franchise. Like here, for example, which part of the offense will you be focused on developing the most? Let's say quarterback, and I'm sure I'll probably get something that says the quarterbacks are going to get a boost. Oh, what do you know? What separates me from other coaches in the league? I'm sure if I pick innovative play calling, it's going to give me some sort of boost. Oh yeah, the triple option play sheet's been awarded. So again, pretty much the press conferences outside of visual changes about the exact same when it comes to the entire premise. Now, one thing I do want to test that everybody's interested in is trades, which I do actually need to get to the regular season to do that because I have no cap space at all. So we've made it to week 1 of the regular season, and there is a lot to look at. But again, let's not lose our focus. I do want to make a couple of trades here. It's very similar to last year when you're going to make trades. You have the trade finder, trade block. You can just upgrade a position. I've personally never used this, and I'm assuming, yeah, there's not going to be like really any good players. You got Shador Sanders here, so yeah, yeah, no good players on the trade block at this point. I mean, actually, hold on a second. Why is Kim Scattaboo here? To be fair, within franchise, players do request trades for one reason or another. Maybe he did. Okay, I lied about there not being good players. That's kind of crazy. Even Kyle Monunga here. I mean, he's a good young running back. Demario Douglas is the best wide receiver. Oh, my Titans got Alec Ayamaner and Tim DK on the block. Dalton Kincaid's there. Gunnar Helm for my Titans. What are we doing? Why are we trading all of our young players? Now, I do want to note as well, you're going to be seeing a lot of these players actually get traded away throughout the season. You actually see some very good players outside of the trade block get traded, especially around the deadline. So we will be kind of like going through that as well throughout the season. But as you see, Lamar Jackson, no trade clause. Can't trade him away, which is going to be kind of tricky in some rebuilds because like the same players are going to have no trade clause at the start of every rebuild. So it'll kind of limit the amount of players you can trade for. So unfortunately, I can't trade away Lamar Jackson and see what I can get in return. But let's trade away Derrick Henry and see what we can get in return for him. Again, you can click the get offers button and see like what straight up what you can acquire for said player. Like Derrick Henry's like, I mean, it could give me Jerry Jeudy, Michael Wilson, Travis Kelce, Nolan Smith. And I will say as well, and I don't know what caused this in the last few Maddens, but you see the little yellow triangle by Derrick Henry's name? That's the amount of interest they have from all these teams. Like yellow interest means the teams are sort of interested in Derrick Henry. If it has red, means the teams don't really need him. Now, in Maddens, let's say before Madden 25, like there was a lot more action there. It is very rare that you see a player that actually has green interest when it comes to trading them away. Like Tyreek Hill here, he's a 92 rated player. Not a single team really actually wants him. And in prior Maddens, you didn't have to be like a super high rated player for teams to actually be interested in you. It's like John Simpson here. Like, I mean, he's a solid 82 rated guard, but like nobody wants him. If this was Madden 21, Madden 20, there'd be like a bunch of teams to be interested in him because he's an 82 rated guard. I mean, there's literally not a single team outside the Lions that actually wants John Simpson. Like even Zion Young, he's an extremely good young edge rusher, and nobody's interested in him just because he's a little bit lower rated. I mean, you have one team, Dolphins, but that's the Dolphins, dude. Again, back in like prior Maddens, like you'd have so many teams interested in him, and I was really curious to see if that was going to change this year, but it didn't. Now, I do want to see what we get offered for a Tyreek Hill. I mean, we get Zach Allen, Michael Wilson, Ladd McConkey, DeForest Buckner, Sam Cosmi. Can you see players like Will Anderson have no trade clauses? As I feel like most teams are typically going to have somebody that has a no trade clause. Let's see if we get the best center in the game. Creed Humphrey, which is funny, I didn't mean to like plan it like this, but we could send Tyreek Hill back to Kansas City, and the trade interest level meter is completely different. This is I think this is the first time in like 7 Maddens the trade interest level is a circle opposed to like a straight line. Don't know how I feel about it. When I did my first rebuild, it took me aback. Actually, it took me about 30 seconds to get my mind right. One of the biggest changes I've had to incur in my life in a long time. So we're dealing with the circle now when it comes to the trade interest level. But I will say from my experience, it does feel like the trade logic is very similar, if not completely identical to Madden 26. I don't think the trade logic had any sort of update whatsoever. Throwing a 3rd round pick, still not accepted. See if we go with the 2nd, maybe throwing a little Justice Hill, submit it through, and they can't afford them. We are getting mighty close, my friends. A 4th round pick. Creed Humphrey is officially ours. We'll say cool thing, you'll see at the bottom, there's a little ticker, the entirety of your franchise, all the breaking news, and you see this little thing popping up in the bottom right. Like the Texans just locked down Nico Collins to a 7-year extension. 7 years, which brings me to a point, and a lot of my points that I want to talk about and test today are going to happen live. Now, Brian O'Neill just signed a contract extension as well. I will say you might want to turn off that ticker in the bottom right because it is constant. It never stops. I feel like the bottom ticker is fine, but that might just be me. The Lions just locked down Sam Laporta for 2 years. But if we go into the transaction screen, I do want to show you some of the players who have already re-signed, and it might not already like be that crazy, but players sign ridiculously long contract extensions, such as Bijan Robinson here being locked down to a 8-year contract. I don't think ever in NFL history there's been a player signed for an 8-year contract extension. That's not real. And that happens a lot. Brian Branch, 7 years, 96 mil. Nico Collins, 7 years. Like the only position that ever gets more than like 5 years is the quarterback position. And the long contract extensions happen way way too often, brother. And I promise you guys, this is just the start. I do think it's cool that, like, you see your stuff pop up on the ticker as well, but I do feel like it's a little bit too spammy and too much stuff happens. That's why I end up turning that off in the bottom right in my own franchises. Which rookies will we see in April's draft? So if you use auto-generated rookies, you'll just typically click that. And unfortunately, I do have to report, guys, that the scouting is the exact same. There's not even a point in testing it. It's the exact same. I think scouting is really one of the biggest changes that franchise mode genuinely needs. But at least at the start of Madden 27, the scouting system is the exact same. It's not even worth my energy going through it. So yeah, I told you the same. The exact same, except that the background color is a little bit different. The fonts got changed a little. But as you see here, boys, our first contract extension has spawned. And I will tell you, you have got to take care of the contract extension the week it presents itself. And it's just random. It's completely random. You have no control on when the contract extension conversations trigger. And what doesn't make sense to me is if you go into the contract tab, which I believe this is sort of new this year. There used to be a contract tab, but it's more visually appealing now. I feel like you should be able to go to the expiring contracts, and there should be a certain point in time in your franchise where you can negotiate with all these players at once. Like in prior Maddens, it was like after like week 8, most of the players you could go ahead and negotiate with, but no, it's completely random, and you have no choice at all when you're able to negotiate with these players. You can even give them a little phone call to see if they're interested. But also from the screen, which I will say, the screen is cool, and it definitely helps you organize the stuff when it comes to contract extensions and what's upcoming. You can see what players you can restructure, which is, I believe, the same as last year, where you just click on Creed Humphrey. I can restructure his contract, which I don't want to actually do Creed Humphrey because of another experiment. Let's go Trey Hendrickson, restructure his. You see it'll free up $7.28 million in cap space this year. We'll add $2.42 million the final 3 years of this contract. We don't have any cap space next year. I don't know why. That's kind of scary. We'll go ahead and do that just for the visual appeal. As you see, that's completely the same. But you can organize the contracts in your team by expiring, the active negotiations, as we have none, and we can't trigger any ourselves. The 5th-year options we have to decide between, any players holding out, which we don't have any, and the tendered restricted free agents, which we also don't have any. So this screen definitely is a dub. But I will say as well, what I have noticed, and again, there's a lot of this stuff could be changed by the time you see this. Like, EA's probably going to drop a patch anytime soon that fixes a lot of this stuff, so a lot of the small bugs could very well be fixed. I don't know. They could drop a patch at the end of the first week of Madden 27. It could be 2 weeks. It could be the second day. I don't know. But what I will say, one of the things I have noticed myself, which is just not fun, as you see in my settings here, the only things I have set to auto are injury management and weekly training. The live event negotiations and the contract negotiations are set to manual. But even though they're set to manual, what I have noticed, if I was to simulate this week, the CPU goes ahead and signs into a contract extension for exactly what he's asking for. So if you just so happen to miss something in your weekly hub, if you just so happen to maybe simulate a few weeks, it just automatically resigns the players that you don't even want to resign without you really having an option, even though you have it set to manual. I'm not going to sim past that just yet to show you guys. I do want to negotiate with Roquan Smith myself to show you how that works, but I just don't get the point of having it set to manual if you just accidentally skip past it, or maybe you just want to sim a few weeks in the future. If like every single player is going to re-sign for what they want. Like, there's some players I don't want to re-sign, man. And it'd be different if you knew when to expect it, but you don't, because these just randomly pop up throughout the season. You have no idea what week they're going to show up. Let's actually go into this negotiation with Roquan Smith, where I can negotiate right now. I can hold off. I can go ahead and say I'm not going to re-sign them, or I can delegate it to my GM, which I'll actually experiment with in just a minute because I haven't yet. But again, the contract negotiation is exactly like signing a free agent either during the season in free agency frenzy. And again, you set off with an initial contract offer, which is just completely random, and I don't know if he likes this or not, so I'm just going to go ahead. And only 2 years feels a little short, but I guess maybe that's what he wants. I'm just going to confirm it, and he's going to start with a 56% interest. And again, man, like, all this stuff that generates is just random. So let's go with maybe a 25% salary boost, which is going to up his interest all the way to 76. Let's actually fight back and refuse to raise the bonus. So it doesn't look like he's demanding or impatient according to his persona DNA. So I don't think this should hurt too much just to see if we refuse. It actually went up 2%, but his patience was lost down to 24%. So we'll say I'm at the point in franchise where I don't totally get the deal breakers and cap space up there. It's like the bonus is high, total contract value is critical, contract length is moderate, playoff contenders high, but like that changes as you're negotiating the contract. So he has a moderate contract length deal breaker, but like, I mean, add a year at the same salary and that's probably going to change, right? Okay, one of them did. I don't know which one did, but it did. But now his interest up to 95%, but his patience is down to 6%. And like now we're at the point where pretty much everything here kind of takes away. And it's like, if I want Roquan Smith to sign here, I need to probably, if I just want to guarantee he signs without running out of patience, I need to just add him more money. But unfortunately, all the options we're given here, this is a great example. We either have to reduce the salary by 5% to add a year, we can increase the bonus, but decrease the salary, or reduce the salary and guarantee a year. So every one of these options actually takes something away, which doesn't guarantee the interest is going to go up without him losing his patience. So I'm like, why can't I just offer him a little bit more money here to guarantee he re-signs with us, man? I could also ask him to choose the value path. I could pitch why the current value works, which is what I am going to do to see if it's enough for him to actually re-sign with us, which I think we did. Let's sign Roquan Smith to his contract extension, but you see how tedious that was? And it just doesn't even really seem that fulfilling because it's just a bunch of random answers that pop up and you don't really have way too much control. Now, I know I just said it doesn't seem way too fulfilling, but at least we know after doing all of that, we actually were able to lock him up, so it feels like halfway it was worth doing. But once we get to offseason free agency frenzy, imagine doing all that and just completely wasting your time because nobody signs with you, even though you finally get to that 100% interest meter. Now, obviously, at the end of the season, we're going to be tracking all the stats because you guys, I know, are very curious to see how the simulation goes now. First week, you had Jaden Daniels throw 5 touchdowns. And we'll say, if anything, the simulation isn't perfect at all at this point. I'm sure they're going to tune it. It's not perfect, but it is much improved. It is much improved. One of the things I promise you, you will not see the slot receiver of every team leading the league in receiving yards. You actually see teams' #1 receivers leading the league and leading their teams in receiving yards and touchdowns, which is crazy. This is crazy. Now, here we have it here in week 2. Madubuike, Ronnie Stanley, both want long-term contract extensions, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to delegate. Well, actually, let me delegate one of them. Let me just delegate one of them. Ronnie Stanley will delegate and see what happens. And you see, there you go. Ronnie Stanley, a 2-year, $61 million contract extension, which does seem a little insane. Puka Nacua just signed a long 5-year contract extension, but even though I'm not going to do anything here, I'm just going to completely disregard this, and I have it set to manual. We're going to sim to the next week, and there it is. Madubuike re-signs on a 3-year, $86 million extension, even though I didn't do anything, and I have the contract negotiations on manual. I hate that. I will tell you right now, I hate that. It's very easy to miss some things. Some people like simulating weeks at a time, and it's like a very good chance you missed this. Like, imagine this was like a 40-year-old that you knew was going to go down in overall, but you just so happen to miss the contract extension thing randomly spawned in the weekly hub, and you're locked down another 3 years with them for almost $90 million. I just feel like it would make so much more sense, at least like if you knew when players were going to ask for contract extensions, and I honestly wish they would add the thing from a college football dynasty. You could advance to a specific week. Like, you can't even advance to like the trade deadline. You advance to mid-season, it takes you to week 8. So there's a lot of stuff you miss, and like some people like just skipping weeks at a time, and you'd like to be able to skip to a specific week for a specific action that happens that week, but you can't do it. You literally have the option between sim to mid-season, sim to playoffs, Super Bowl, off-season. I feel like they need to carry that over from Dynasty. There you are. It looks like a match made in heaven as the Chiefs already locked down Tyreek Hill for another 2 years. And I promise you I'm not going to check this every week, but it really is ridiculous. Like Grant Delpit, 6 years, $55 million. Buda Baker, dude, is he 31, 32? 5-year deal. At least Jalen Carter's halfway, like, understandable because he's a young guy. But I just will say, man, some of these contract extensions are just completely out of control. Again, Marlon Humphrey in line for an extension. Didn't do a dang thing with the contract negotiations on manual, but you best believe he is going to be a Raven for the next 2 seasons. And it's even more frustrating when it comes to guys like this. Like, no disrespect towards Justice Hill, but I don't want to give him a contract extension. So again, like, even players like that, you sim to the next week, and Justice Hill's locked in for the next 3 seasons. There's a very good chance in your franchise, if you don't do your due diligence each and every week, you might accidentally re-sign players on long-term deals that could really screw you up when it comes to your cap situation, because every dollar when it comes to the cap saved is very important when it comes to free agency. You'll see, trust me. Like, giving out $9 million deals to players that you don't really care about. Like, that's just, I don't like it. Wait a minute, brother. We gotta do some exploring. So it looks like the Bills just traded Dalton Kincaid to the Dolphins for a 6th-round pick and Chamari Connor, and he immediately signed a contract extension, which, I mean, that's fair money. Devontae Adams, even at his age, just got $60 million over 2 years. And I've seen Devontae Adams sign a contract extension for like 5 years at his age, so just keep that in mind. I mean, it's just like there's so many players just randomly pop up each and every week wanting contract extensions. Just had Derrick Henry at his age signed for 3 years, $50 million. I do want to see what a negotiation looks like with the primetime quarterbacks. I've yet to do this. See, like, I feel like initially coming in with a 6-year, $14 million season contract with a $150 million bonus feels a little low for a franchise quarterback. But it's like at Lamar Jackson's age, like, that's a little crazy. Now, it does look like you can actually go up to 8 years now when it comes to offering a contract extension. In previous years, the max was 7. Funny enough, I think I actually saw a player in a previous franchise get locked down for 9 years. I don't know how that happened because I can only offer 8. But see, let's just offer what the game starts with and see what Lamar Jackson says. See, his interest is only 12%. He's not happy at all with this. And it's like, I can't even, like, increase the money that much. Like, it's so incremental. Like, okay, Lamar Jackson doesn't like the money. Let me bump it up by like $20 million or $30 million, $40 million, because that's probably what it's going to take, but I can't. The most I can do, and this is actually the most I've ever seen, is up the bonus by $18 million. He didn't even up the yearly salary at all. And that right there, I mean, that bumped it up a little bit, but like his patience is about to run out. Like, and now, like, see what I'm saying? Like, now, obviously, Lamar Jackson wants more money. Like, I need to offer him like maybe 10, maybe $20 million more dollars a season. But unfortunately, the only options I have with this set of given answers is reducing the salary and adding a year, increasing the bonus, but decreasing his salary, which is already low for him, and reducing the salary and guaranteeing a year. Like, I don't like it. And see, man, like, we're about to run out of patience. See, we ran out of patience. It does say 0%, and he's still talking to me. So, but again, this is like 3 consecutive set of answers where I didn't get to just up his salary, which is what he wants. Literally, every single one of the options that we're given here is reducing his salary when he wants more. But unfortunately, it doesn't matter because Lamar Jackson's out of patience because we went in with a bad offer, and I didn't know if it was a good offer or not. I had no idea. Now, I will say, like, this is one of the things that I don't know if this is just me being anal and this is just me being a hater, but I find it just a little annoying that, like, okay, mock draft pops up, the first ever mock draft in the weekly hub. I click on it and it gives me the option to either study the mock draft or view mocks later. Brother, I specifically went out of my way to click on it. Obviously, I want to see it. Just like, no point in this. Like, I know it's like so subtle, but all you have to do is click a button, right? Just like, why? Obviously, I click the goddamn button, dude. I want to look at the mock draft. I don't want to view them later. But for the most part, the mock draft, the whole entire system is basically the same. We'll have to see later in the test if the mock draft 5 is almost 100% accurate to the real draft like it was last year. I do want to see, like, no players are really getting cut at this point of the season. Like, it's pretty stinky free agents out there. I have yet to, and I will say I've just done a few seasons, I've yet to see a player request a trade at this point. I think because I'm trying to keep everybody happy. But since the contract offer didn't work last time with Lamar Jackson, he's right back, like, I think the next week. We're going to delegate this and see how much he gets re-signed for. He's actually not popping up here. So, did the delegation fail? All right, don't know why that happened. That's the first time I've ever delegated a contract extension and he just didn't accept. I don't like that. So what if we do what we did earlier in the sim past the week? Even though, again, I have it on manual. Oh, it continues to pop up. I wonder if we don't have the money to re-sign him. I really wonder if that's the issue. It didn't even give me the option to go in with an offer. That's new. I wonder if it just picks up where we left off last time we negotiated a contract. And again, I have no idea why the delegation didn't work and why the simming didn't work. I wonder if it's because we don't have enough money, because we only have $14 million in cap space, although this is a long-term option. But again, it picks right back up, brother, where, like, the only options we have to answer him are reducing his salary. And he's not liking that too much. Finally, dude, I can increase his salary by $500K. It's like, dude, I need to up it by, like, probably $5 million a season. We're up now to an 8-year contract. And now we're at the point where these answers are just absolutely insane. We can sell the standard, let the opportunity speak, title friendly structure, like, minus his salary by 10%. I don't even know if he'll do this. If he's team first or grounded DNA, which I do see grounded. So let me see if after all this, we can actually, like, drop his salary by 10% and see if we can pitch him on that. It went up by like 6%. That's, and again, there's like no point here where I could even just up the salary or anything. So just guarantee 1 more year on his contract, up to 99%. So let's just walk through his true value, see if that's enough. Lamar Jackson, oh, it went down. It actually went down. Oh my gosh, let's reinforce the fit here. Like, you just see how tedious this is. Up to 99% now. Let's refuse to move any further. Up to 100%. Oh my God. Lamar Jackson has finally re-signed a long 8-year contract extension to stay a Baltimore Raven until he's almost 40 years old. Great, I'm glad you guys got to see this. It says we signed Lamar Jackson to a 9-year, $335 million contract, which, to be fair, like, in terms of value per year, that's a bargain. Now, we did just get past the trade deadline week, and I do want to see what trades went down. So we had Kalijah Kancey get traded to the Falcons for a 7th-round pick in Sebastian Joseph-Day. The Giants dealt a 7th-round pick in Mekhi Blackmon for Deonte Banks to the Browns. Now, I will say, I haven't really noticed that many trades around the trade deadline, and that's something they did say in their notes, that apparently, depending on how teams were performing at that point in the season, like, rather they were having a stinky season or a really good season, they'd either become buyers or sellers. And I haven't seen that happen. Like, I have not seen any crazy trades go down. Like, I've never seen really any, like, prime time players go. Like, I've actually seen better players than what you've seen this season get traded, but no real superstars or anything, and I've never really seen a team become sellers, you know, and that's what they kind of claimed was going to happen. Again, maybe it comes in a future update, but so far, not too good. And again, every season will be different. Every season your franchise could have different results, but from my experience, I haven't really seen much motion go on during the trade deadline. Like, come on, Kalijah Kancey to the Falcons for Sebastian Joseph-Day in the 7th. That's not really breaking news. And like, this is where I get confused. Am I tripping, or did Kyle Pitts not sign a contract extension already? Yeah, he already had a contract extension in real life, and he's got another 2 years. I mean, he had 3 years left on his deal. So I'll just have to say, man, first of all, how did Ricky Pearsall become a Falcon? I missed that somewhere in the universe. I had to say, the entire contract extension system, there's some funky stuff going on. There's some nonsense. There's some weird motion. And again, can very well like be cleaned up with a patch. By the time you're watching this, on maybe like the 3rd or 4th day of Madden, there has been a patch. Well, I had a feeling there was going to be some nonsense going on. Now, I do want to answer a few of these in the Weekly Hub just as an experiment to see if something happens that happened in my rebuild before. So, like, Derrick Henry wants to speak with me about finishing the season off strong. Like, for whatever reason, he wants to reach a specific goal. Like, let's say, I don't know, we want him to get 5 more rushing touchdowns on the season. And if he gets that, he'll get some sort of boost. If he doesn't, he'll be disappointed. He'll be depressed. I think he wants this because he has that motivated persona DNA. And like Rashad Bateman here, let's get him like a crazy goal. Like 12 more receiving touchdowns in the last 8 weeks of the season. The fact that's even like a potential goal is insane. Rashad Bateman is not getting 12 touchdowns the rest of the season. It's just not happening, but I'll do it. What I'm anticipating is going to happen might very well not happen, but I saw a crazy glitch happen in my rebuild that I've got to see if it can trigger again. But with that, let's just go ahead and advance to the end of the season so you guys can see the sim results. We'll talk through it because like I've already been talking for the last 2 hours of my life. There's still so much more we got to experiment with. Like I said, I want to test literally every single angle of Madden 27 franchise mode. So we have made it to the end of the season. The Ravens went 14-3. I don't think they ever lost again, which was the best record in the AFC. Worst record in the AFC was the Dolphins at 2-15. That's a common theme. I think in the first season of all my simulations I've done, the Dolphins have won a combined like 3-4 games. So the Ravens, best record in football this season. Falcons, really good year. Dolphins, Browns, Titans, Saints, and Cowboys had the worst records in football. And I will say, what I have noticed, outside of like maybe the worst teams in the game and like maybe some of the best teams in the game, there's been a pretty good variance in results, you know? Like the Cowboys, I've seen them win 12, 13 games the first season. I just saw them win 5. So I do like the fact that it doesn't seem like the simulations are always predetermined. And we'll even talk about that more when we look at the stats from this season. Now, another thing that just annoys me, it just seems so pointless in the wild card week, I want to look at the playoff bracket, you know? Playoff bracket's a cool visual. You click on it. Why would I click on it just to skip it? Why would I do that? And like, why would I delegate the fact that we want to monitor the playoff picture to my GM? Why? Same thing with the mock draft as I showed you. Like, why would I click on it just to view it later? Just extra buttons to click. It just makes me so mad. The playoff bracket does look different for the first time in like 3 or 4 years in Madden franchise. and I will say, I don't really like it. I don't know. It just looks like, it just doesn't look as good as the prior years, and I don't know why the NFL playoff text up top is so small. I mean, again, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a visual thing, but I just don't think it looks as good as prior Maddens. Let me tell you too, why I don't like that black line bottom. It makes it look like franchise mode isn't full screen. I don't like that. I don't like that motion. And I promise you guys, I'm not just trying to complain in this video. I'm just genuinely trying to give it to you straight, what I do and what I don't like. I have a different kind of mind than a lot of you. So there's some things that I don't like that you guys don't care about. Probably some things I don't care about that you guys like. I'm just trying to be honest. The things I see, the things I like, and admittedly might not be necessarily your cup of tea, what I care about. All of this is something I did want to show you guys. So we go to the adjust lineup screen. I saw there was 2 discussions that my players were having with me. Derrick Henry was one of them, and you can see from the lineup screen, he has a little speech bubble. That means we're having an active conversation, rather it be just a general discussion or maybe a contract negotiation that's active and ongoing. But I do think it's actually a different icon that pops up on the adjust lineup screen if it's a contract negotiation. Rashad Bateman also has one, I'm assuming like his goal. So apparently Derrick Henry did have a good end of the season. He met his goal, which I am very curious to know what it does. He just gained some morale. D. Henry is optimistic, a classic. Oh, that's unfortunate. There's so many misspellings that just happen that are just so unnecessary, dude. And then Rashad Bateman, after giving him an unrealistic target, he is now pessimistic, a temporary DNA that penalizes morale gains. And morale is like not that important. Like if I'm you guys, I'm not even like spending the time doing this in your franchises. It just, I don't know. It just seems a little bit too much. At least for Rashad Bateman's sake, they spelled pessimistic right. But let's look at stats, boys. The NFL league leaders in passing, Joe Burrow. And this looks bad off the get-go because Joe Burrow, just like in past Maddens, he led the league in passing yards like always, but this doesn't always happen. In the first few simulations I did, it was Justin Herbert actually who was leading the league a lot. Now Burrow did have crazy stats, but I think this is more because, I mean, he's got Jamar Chase, he's got T. Higgins. So a lot of the stats can be way more determined by your player personnel versus just a playbook. Now I will say what I have noticed from Madden 26 and Madden 27, the passing touchdown numbers are a lot more down overall as a whole compared to Madden 26. Like, yeah, Burrow threw for 46, but I think you'll rarely see quarterbacks in franchise mode unless they're very good and have insane wide receivers throw for 50 touchdowns. Again, I like that because it's rare in real life, so it should be reflective in franchise mode. There's still some quarterbacks like Jared Goff who like only throw 2 interceptions a season, which I suppose is fine. Even Caleb Williams only threw 2, so maybe like that does need to be tuned a little bit. But you do have your quarterbacks like Tyler Shuck and Malik Willis who throw for more than 15 interceptions a season. And I do think Malik Willis's like stinky season has to do with his team being bad. Like he has no good wide receiver, so I think that reflects how bad his season was. And he's not necessarily the best player in the game either. So we'll say I do think the passing yards need to be tuned in simulation. But outside of that, I definitely do like the fact that you're going to see a lot more variance when it comes to the stats this year. And it's going to change. You're not going to have the Bengals, and whenever Joe Burrow retires in your franchise, you're not going to always have the Bengals quarterback throw for 5,000 yards every season. And we'll see that later in this video. Now, running back. I will say, I have noticed Josh Jacobs and Cam Scatterboo are always up there. I don't know why he was in the trade block. He's a freaking beast. But again, I do think that the running back numbers do need to be tuned a little bit because there's like a lot of yards. Like there's so many running backs with over 1,400 yards this season. Last season, there were 4 running backs with 1,400 yards or more rushing. In this Madden simulation, there was what, like 15? And same thing with the passing yards. Last season in real life, there were 6 quarterbacks that threw for 4,000 yards or more. In this Madden franchise, it's literally the majority of the league. I've seen this quite often. DeAndre Hopkins signing with the Cardinals and he leads the league in receiving yards. That's crazy. I don't know how that happens. It hasn't happened in every sim I've done, but outside of that, typically the receiving stats are a lot better because you'll notice there aren't just slot receivers up here leading the league in receiving yards as there always is. You never saw T. Higgins with good numbers because it was always whoever the third receiver for the Bengals putting up good numbers. You always saw like Darnell Mooney or like Wan'Dale Robinson or just random receivers who were slot receivers in their depth chart put up crazy numbers because for whatever reason that was always skewed in Madden simulation. And if anything, like a lot of these numbers have got to be tuned. It's like the passing yards, rushing yards, and a lot. They're like way too overpowered. But at least it's like league wide. It's not just like specific teams. It's just all that needs to be tuned down. But at least the important thing is it is no longer playbook dependent. There's just way too many receivers with 1,000 yards gosh, brother. What's that, like 50? But I'm sure it will be tuned. But again, even though it's ridiculously high, all the stats right now, I still think it's better than Madden 26. It's not the same players over and over again with the same playbooks and the same slot receivers. Ruben Bain as a rookie, oh my God, 18.5 sacks. See, like again, this is a really good point. I'm not going to have a good visual for you, but I have seen in like 3 simulations Abdul Carter with like 15 plus, maybe almost 20 sacks. But this year, in this simulation, he only had 10.5. That means it's not going to be the same result every year. You might, like more than likely, like sometimes maybe Abdul Carter in the first season of your franchise has 15 plus sacks, but it's not every single season like it was in previous Maddens. Like I've yet to see Ruben Bain lead the league in sacks, so that's nice. There can be some crazy variants like that. Again, maybe the sack total is a little bit too high, but it's just important to me that every simulation, every season feels different. And if you get the same results from simulation every year in your franchise mode, it's going to feel like the same thing you're playing over and over again. I do like the randomness. It obviously needs to be skewed to the better players, but I'm saying all this and kind of like doing a deep dive here to show you guys. I do think simulation, which I believe was one of the biggest issues with Madden franchise over the last 5 years, I do think simulation has seen a massive step forward, although it does, a lot of stuff needs to be tuned down a bit. It just shouldn't be game breaking anymore like it's been in years past. Just out of pure curiosity, again, you're going to think this is Madden 26 all over again. I promise you. I mean, Joe Burrow might win it a lot because his offense is phenomenal. Mahomes in second, Lamar Jackson in third, Jared Goff in fourth. Coach of the Year goes to swaggy Mr. Bubbles. It is like not the first time I've seen Aaron Glenn almost win the awards. The Jets apparently aren't doing way too bad in The Sims. I think you will see Jamar Chase win Offensive Player of the Year a lot. Not again because of playbooks, just because of the team, and that's honestly how it should be. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Josh Hines Allen with Jonathan Cooper in second. Omar Cooper wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Cassius Howell. In the NFC, I promise you this isn't going to always happen. DeAndre Hopkins' rating probably needs to be dropped a little bit, but he did win Offensive Player of the Year because the numbers he had, you know, in his return to Arizona. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Myles Garrett with a shocker. How did Ruben Bain not win it? Brother had 18.5 sacks. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Mekhi Lemon. Defensive Rookie of the Year, it would have been the biggest fleets of all time if it wasn't Ruben Bain with his 18.5 sacks. So this is where you see a lot of the real-life coordinators get fired. Gus Bradley and Brian Daboll and Robert Saleh got fired. This is my worst nightmare. Gus Bradley, I gotta have a 10-minute conversation with him. Nicest guy on the planet. Oh my God, he was a nice dude. You can't have him fired. Bad game. It's a horrible game. But I do want to point this out, so I am very curious to see if a lot of these real-life coordinators who got fired get jobs elsewhere, specifically as a head coach, or if some of the head coaches like Robert Saleh ends up somewhere as a defensive coordinator. Again, as you guys see, it's not all real coordinators, which is the first time we've ever had any real coordinators, but I do wonder why like some of them are fake though, and I wonder if they'll get updated throughout the season. God, so many coaches got fired, dude. Look at this. Christian Gonzalez, 9 years. $202 million contract. To be fair, that's incredible value for the Patriots. That's an insane AAV for a player like Christian Gonzalez. But fellas, I don't think, you know, I really don't think Christian Gonzalez is ever going to get a 9-year contract. I don't think anybody's ever going to get a 9-year contract in the history of the NFL. So just a lot of craziness going on in this game, man. Aaron Rodgers signs an extension, which I do also want to test that, guys. The retirements are supposed to be tuned as well this year. Apparently, it's not all just age dependent. I mean, this obviously can play a big factor, but like a player like Aaron Rodgers is still playing really good football, he's more likely to play past 40 than would before. Now, on the flip side, if you have a player that is stinking it up, maybe as a running back in his mid-20s, he might just go ahead and retire right then and there. It is a lot more dependent this season on how well you're actually playing. Like, obviously, again, if you're an older player, you still have a chance to retire, like at 35, but as long as you continue to play well, you might stick around a little bit longer than what you would in previous Maddens, which I love because in previous Maddens, you had a hard cutoff. Like, most players would retire like at 33 to 35 years old, even if they were still a 99 overall player. Don't like that, and I do like that it's apparently fixed, but we'll have to see, though. Again, that's just an experiment. Now, I do want to see who ends up winning this first Super Bowl, and then the real grind of this video is going to start in the off season. Yeah, we are at the point where I'm getting tired of it. We're gonna go ahead in those league settings, and we're gonna change the breaking news to just ticker only. I just can't take that pop-up. It's getting on my nerves. Interesting little playoff run here. We have the Colts make the AFC Championship. The poor Lions just are never going to make it to a Super Bowl. The Ravens, we took down the Broncos 45-7. Surprised the Rams haven't made it yet. I have yet to see the Rams make it to a Super Bowl in a simulation. Cardinals made it as a 7 seed in the toughest division in football. As yeah, the Seahawks completely missed the playoffs. So, first Super Bowl winner today is going to be none other than us. That's funny. I mean, I randomly just picked the Ravens, so that's funny. A pretty even Super Bowl, but at least we got Derrick Henry a ring. I'm just going to pretend that it was all me. Now, following the Super Bowl, I do want to see if this is a point in time where you still see a ton of players gain dev traits. And it is, my friends, as Shinobi Awuzie here, as you can see, at the ripe age of 32, just gained Superstar post a Super Bowl win. Now, something important here, as we've made it to re-sign week, you go to Weekly Hub, and you're just spammed with all this stuff. And you can understand how it gets so tedious having to repeat that process of all the conversation back to back to back to back to back to back to back. And for whatever reason, you like actually can't even negotiate straight from this screen, even though there's like the entire expiring contract tab. Like Tavius Robinson, for example, I guess I might have already said no to him. I can't even like go here and call him. Like at this point, I have no option to even re-sign him, even though it obviously says he's a contract expiring, and we were literally at the re-sign week. I just like don't get what the point is, like being at the re-sign week, where you're not like actually able to re-sign everybody that you actually want to. Like some of them you can, but again, like Tavius Robinson, like he didn't pop up anywhere. Like he has an expiring contract that maybe I did want to re-sign him, but I legitimately can't do it. And it doesn't make any sense because this is re-sign week. Oh God, there's so much going on here, brother. Holy crap, dude. There's 17 players, like legitimately, not 17, maybe more like 12, that won't need to restructure their contracts. So that's what happens during free agency prep is players want to restructure their contracts because they want us to be able to spend money in free agency. Because as things stand, we have a negative $70 million in cap space. But like from here, what we can do is it says his contract details is 10 years, man, till he's 40. I don't know how that keeps happening, dude. Why did his contract go up? Anyways, we can convert 75% of his salary to a bonus. So, gonna do that. And you can't do that, like not even close that amount of money by just clicking like the contract restructure and like the edit player screen or whatever in the player profile. I mean, that almost gave us cap space actually. So if I actually sit here, let me actually delegate with all these players and see if that actually affects our salary cap. So it did slightly, but if I actually went in and restructured all of these contracts, it's giving me the option to restructure Lamar Jackson's contract again. How does this even work? Can I just like continue to restructure Lamar Jackson's contract until I have like positive money? I am honestly like very, very tired of this. So I'm just going to delegate literally every single one of these restructures. Okay, I will have to say this is kind of cool. This is the first time I've seen this. So retirement talks for Chidobe Awuzie, who just became a superstar. So apparently I could maybe talk him out of retirement. This is kind of weird. Again, he's 32 years old, just gained a superstar dev trait because retirement is getting closer, but I still have goals left. So I can either just persuade him by saying we're going to have a winning record by mid-season. We can say we're going to improve his legacy. We can negotiate an extension to entice him, tell him he's crucial to his team, or say he's going to play a big role mentoring incoming players. And again, this is one of those instances where you have definitely got to look at the persona DNA and like see what answer fits him the best. Let's just tell him we're going to have a winning season next year and see if that's enough for him to come back and not retire. Nothing's happening. He's just giving me a blank quote. So I don't think he liked my answer. Literally nothing's happening. This is just an endless loop. This could just be a one-off glitch just because it's the first time I've seen this, but I don't know if he's going to retire now or not after that. Which, oh my God. So we had some good players retire. Vita Vea was still an X factor. He's gone after 9 years. Aaron Jones, Calvin Ridley. Okay, so that contract extension from Aaron Rodgers meant nothing at all. So he does retire after 22 years. Cam Hayward retires. DeMarcus Lawrence retires. Leonard Williams, still on the top of his game, he retires. Trey Hendrickson's gone. That's weird. Matthew Stafford retires. Like, so Trey Hendrickson, okay, so like, it does seem like the older players are retiring. Like, I don't think I'm really gonna be able to get a feel for this in today's video, like, if players really stick around for a while, or if, like, the same players retire over and over again. They did say, like I said, man, they had a lot of tuning done to this, and, like, players aren't just gonna retire because they're moving on up there, but I did see a lot of players who are still at the top of their game that are old that did call it quits, and some players that were still in their prime call it quits, which apparently can happen now. But so many good players, man, this offseason called it quits. And I don't get the point of like the contract extensions. Like I saw during the season, Travis Kelce got a 1-year extension and he just immediately retires. I don't like that. And like, see, man, like DeAndre Hopkins, he just won Offensive Player of the Year. So I don't really know how much I trust that the players who have good seasons aren't going to retire. Again, it could give them a better chance not to, but the trend is not looking good right now. So unfortunately, after all those contract restructures, I only have $660K in cap room. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to move on if I actually want to show you guys what's going to happen in free agency. The Seahawks have almost $100 million in salary cap, so let's take them over. Okay, so fired head coaches do sign as coordinators, as the Patriots signed Todd Monken as offensive coordinator, Gus Bradley to the Jets. Now, I wanted to see if any coordinator got promoted to head coach. See, my Titans fired Dan Quinn. Okay, so Chris O'Leary, he went from coordinator to head coach, so it can actually happen. So that is cool. I will say there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. There's no debate. I do find it really cool that we have real coordinators now, and they can eventually become head coaches in franchise. So now with the Seattle Seahawks, who had a really bad season a year ago, we have made it to free agency frenzy. Free agency is completely different in Madden now. It's considered a live event. So what happens is you negotiate directly with these players, and once you're done with all your contract offers, you advance an hour into the future, then you see whether or not the players signed with you or signed with another team. I do, though, have a lot of problems with free agency frenzy in Madden 27. And honestly, I feel like I'm going to much prefer the prior Madden franchises when it does come to free agency. Because let's just take Jonathan Taylor, for example. We have the money, so as you see, there are interested teams in them. We don't know who has offered them, who hasn't. But again, you can see what a salary overview is. Like, he's desiring about $18 million a season, about like a $48 million bonus. And it's the same exact system as what you have with contract extensions and signing free agents during the season. Now, I really don't understand why, like, when it comes to the initial contract offer that's randomly generated, why the yearly salary is always so low. Let's just up this a little bit, I suppose. He wanted quite a bit of a bonus, didn't he? I don't even remember what he wanted. He wants $48 million signing bonus. And as you guys saw, we're only offering him $35 million from this initial contract offer. I don't get, like, why, like, how it comes up with this number. And I really wish you could see what he's asking for from this screen. Because, like, it sucks. You have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I don't like this at all. I do know, like, initially in franchise mode, they didn't even have this. You, like, just started off like a 1 or 2 year predetermined set offer when you started talking to the players. And the only way you can make the contract longer is if you, like, had an option of an answer to make the contract go up in length. So at least this is here. But it needs some massive adjusting. I'm just going to go in with the straight offer that we have been given. And luckily, the interest isn't terrible. He's 53% interested with 74% patience. And again, it's the same old, man. You're literally just like giving like 5 random spawned answers. We'll go ahead and up his bonus by $2 million, give him a guaranteed year, all the way up to 75%. Yo, breaking news. Potential questions surrounding a deal between the Seahawks and Jonathan Taylor. What does that mean? So, we have said we want you here long term. Don't let outside noise change that. I don't know what are you talking about? What media narrative? Like, we're just talking with them. So we'll publicly reaffirm his commitment, and it all depends on what his persona DNA is, whether or not this actually affects him, like, in a positive manner. So his interest did go up 10% from that. It's such a grind. It is such a grind to get that interest meter up to 100%, all depending on, like, the answers it gives me. Like, here again, dude, like, the only options that we have really are to decrease his salary and do other things, you know? Or we can ask him to choose the value path. We can pitch why the current value works, which is what I'm going to do, but it's such a grind to get that bad boy up to 100%. And it actually just went down there. But just because you get to 100% doesn't mean you sign them, as you will see. So we'll just sit here, just randomly click on answers till we get that thing up to 100%, which we finally did. And again, it's like you get to this point and there's nothing else that you can do. Like, you can't see what the other teams offered. You can't see where you stand amongst the other teams. You don't know if you need to increase your offer. But the bad news, even if you did know you needed to increase your offer, there's literally nothing else you can do, because from this point, the offer is submitted and you can't go back and adjust it. So you have no idea whatsoever, like, where your offer stands compared to the other teams. So like after all that work, dude, there's like a very slim chance you actually sign the players that you want, and you really don't have a say. Like in real life, you have all the say in the world because you can negotiate back and forth. You can kind of get a feel from the agents what the other teams are offering. And in just a crazy world, as a crazy example, if you wanted to for sure lock down Jonathan Taylor, dude, you could offer him $10 million more a season what other teams are. Like, would you typically do that? Probably not. But just for like an extreme example today, if you wanted to do that, you could sign him 100%. But you have no choice and no say in doing that here in Madden franchise because you are, number one, limited to the buttons and answers you can respond to in contract negotiations, and number two, you have no idea what the other teams are offering them. I mean, it is cool that like you have to worry about transition tags now and the repercussions from that, and other things like restricted free agents are in here, but I'm just, as you guys can see, not a fan of the contracts in this game. I like the freedom, the longer years, the void years, everything like that that's new. That's fun. But that all is kind of ruined by the entire process that like it takes to get there. It's just so tedious, just not really rewarding. So I'm gonna sit here for the next like probably 20 minutes of my life. Finally got a contract offer out there to George Pickens, but again, that just means he's got the offer now. Doesn't mean he actually necessarily likes it. Dude, I offered Trayvon Diggs exactly what the game gave me, and he's not even gonna discuss with me. Just immediately just says we're done here. Lame. So I don't even really know what he wanted. I am noticing apparently the reduced salary thing is always the second option you're given in these answers, which I don't like it. It's like if I want to ask a player in a contract negotiation if he wants to take a hometown discount, I shouldn't have to wait until the third answer in a random spawn of answers to give that suggestion in these negotiations. Like, I should be given the freedom of all these options at once so I could pick and choose how I really wanted to negotiate. But you just really don't have that opportunity here. Oh, this is gonna make me crash out, man. This is the second time in 4 sets of answers where the only 3 real options I have, in one way or another, decrease or reduce the salary. In Akeem Aquanu, he's starting to run out of patience. Second time I get to ask him for a hometown discount. There's like actually some really cool answers that do eventually spawn on here, but you're only able to work that into the contracts if it just so happens to pop up as one of your 5 options. Finally, dude, my God. With 3% patience left. And I really feel like I picked the best option in negotiation every single time. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Let's see if I even sign one of those players. So I just click a button to advance an hour. And no, dude. Jonathan Taylor goes to the Lions, funny enough, who have Jahmyr Gibbs on their team. George Pickens to the Eagles. Do we at least get Akeem Aquanu? No. He goes to the Bears. So even though, in terms of the negotiating with these individual players, we got the offer to 100% interest, after all that time, I don't even sign one player, and I don't even know why I didn't get them. So you see what I'm saying? It just feels like a waste of time. You do all that tedious work, and like a lot of the time, like you don't even get to sign the player. I think so far in a few franchises, I've given out like 10 to 15 offers, and I think I've signed 1 or 2 players. That's it. All that time. Probably an hour and a half of my life wasted to only sign 1 or 2 players. And I don't know what it was that made me lose out on them. So to me personally, it's a great in theory. If it actually worked right, and if it was actually tweaked a lot, this would be really cool. But in its current state, it is not fun. In my opinion, you guys could see a completely different point of view here and a different experience than me. But free agency frenzy, the entire contract negotiation system, I'm not really going to touch on it more today because I feel like I've talked about that for an hour of this video, but it needs to be tweaked big time, or people, in my opinion, are not going to have fun. I just find it so funny, actually, that Jonathan Taylor signs with the Detroit Lions. That's so funny. That's actually hilarious. I'm trying to be like even keel here. I definitely know that I'm self-aware enough to know I'm complaining more than like saying the good stuff. There are a lot of cool things added in here that do work right, and a lot of cool things that should be like celebrated. But there's like a lot of the bad stuff just always overpowers the good stuff, which always seems to be the case, which is why I was always skeptical about a lot of these additions in the first place. Now, I will say, I don't know why like the NFL Combine and Pro Days are their own individual week now in simulation, because like all it is like in the weekly hub, you see the Combine results, and again, why would I freaking click on the Combine results if I wanted to skip them, man? Anyway, Anyways, no difference at all. As you see, like you look at Terry Kendrick's face, there are some new faces. Not a lot. There are some new faces for the rookies, but I will say they gotta do a lot of work. There's still so many players that do not look like rookies, dude. Like this guy, like Tony Berger, get that face out of here, man. That's not a 22-year-old. Like Juan Ortega here, his face is new at least, and he looks, I mean, that definitely looks like a 23-year-old. I just don't get, like Jose, that's not a real person. Nobody looks like that. Like, no disrespect if you, like, actually look like that, but I don't think that's real. I don't think you don't, that guy doesn't exist. I don't understand why it's so tough for them to fix the faces. Like, I know a lot of people are against it, but use AI. Like, use AI. Like, if it, honest to God, man, I'm not even trying to, like, be a jerk or, like, trying to be, like, insensitive. Like, if the only way for you to get this face out of the rookie pool is by using AI, by all means, please, dear God, we are begging. So again, to be in the middle here, there are some new faces for the rookies in this game, but, like, my God, dude, like, again, Jimmy just ruins it all. Now, again, something that I really do want to look at and experiment with is the mock draft 5. I feel like it kind of ruins everything when it comes to the draft, like the big surprise of it, because as we saw in Madden 26 franchise, the mock draft 5 is, I would say, 95% accurate to how the draft actually turns out. So, like, basically, if the team you're controlling, you actually make the pick in the mock draft, the entire rest of the first round goes the exact way the mock draft is set up. Now, if you make a different pick than what the mock draft says, the rest of the round might be a little scrambled, but I'm actually going to sit here and record on my phone this entire first round and compare to see how it goes in the actual draft to see if it's, again, 100% accurate. Time to start our NFL draft to witness this together. Draft board looks the exact same, and let's go one by one here. Adrian Byrne goes number 1 just like I did in the mock draft. I lied, we're not going one by one. Yep, boys, so far, every single pick is the exact same for mock draft 5. So what I am going to do is make the same pick from the mock draft to see if the entire first round follows that. But what I do want to test here is the offers coming in for my 9th pick in the draft. I will say in previous Maddens, the offers you get for trade-ups and trade-downs have been freaking atrocious. But I do feel like this is something they tuned very well in franchise mode this year, because a lot of these offers, some of them suck like this one. This one's actually really bad, but they're not nearly as bad as what they were in previous Maddens. Like, moving down 5 spots to pick up 2 future seconds and a 7th isn't bad at all. This one, that's rough. That's a really bad one. Like, yeah, you move all the way back to 32, but you pick up an extra first-round pick. You get a 2nd and 3 and a 4. I mean, that is actually really bad, but not as bad as previous Maddens. Okay, this one's kind of bad. This one's all right. See, like, moving back from 9 to 21 for an extra first-round pick and a 3rd and a 7 isn't too terribly atrocious, I don't believe. I mean, like, the Eagles here, this is an incredible offer. I mean, like, that's moving back almost 22 spots, but, I mean, that's extra 2 first-round picks and 2 7s. So you do, like, I'm sure, like, in real life, you have stinker offers thrown in there, but some pretty strong ones when in previous Maddens, pretty much every single one was a stinker. Like, there's some bad ones, don't get me wrong, but I do think they're much improved from previous Maddens. Apparently, in this year's Madden, there was supposed to be trade up and trade downs from the CPU during the actual draft itself. I haven't witnessed any, but we'll see today if we can witness one. So Riley Walker will be the pick, so I'm going to follow the mock, and they did finally, yes, fix the dev trait issue. You used to be able to see a little player note that said a player was disciplined or not disciplined. If the player said it was disciplined, you already know that meant he was going to have hidden dev. If it said not disciplined, he was going to have normal dev. So you always knew you needed to draft a player that had discipline, and you could kind of cheat and just know that he was going to have hidden development. Thank God they took that out, because that was genuinely a game-breaking bug in Madden 26 franchise. Literally ruined the immersion of it. Let's see here as we draft O'Reilly Walker. So far, everything seems pretty similar to Madden 26, like the same exact angles of Roger Goodell. That looks about the same as well. I did notice a few different, like, cutscenes when it comes to the draft in my first rebuild. That looked identical frame for frame to the walkout in Madden 26. I mean, funny enough, following the mock draft kind of worked. I mean, 6th best player in the draft with normal dev. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. We actually didn't have a full-on mock draft 5 predict the first round. But pick number 19, New York Jets went with Tim Young, so that completely threw off the first round. So pick number 19 and 20 were off from the mock draft, but after that, it gets gets right back to it. Pick 24 is different. Pick 25 is different. So it looks like about 4 picks so far out of the 30 were different from the mock draft, which still isn't great. Again, it just completely ruins the immersion. So it's like you're better off not looking at the mock draft if you're looking for like a surprise, you know, as the draft typically is. You don't normally, want it ruined by a mock draft. And again, I don't think I witnessed any trades there. So I do want to simulate to the end of the draft just to see if there's any CPU trades during it. And again, I do want to reiterate for the 8,000th time today that there's a very good chance that some of the stuff EA said they're going to add doesn't get added until a later patch. Again, I have no clue. I just want to note that. Looks like there was no trades at all during the draft. There is off-season trades, which is definitely new. Never seen off-season trades ever happen in franchise mode. So at least that's something different. That's something kind of cool. And here we have it, the free agency frenzy for undrafted free agents. And I will say, it's never worth it, I don't think. It's just not worth it, man. I'm not going through all that trouble, dude, to go after a 68 rated slot cornerback. You don't know their dev traits or anything, which I guess that would be giving it away. But I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. Unless there's like an undrafted free agent that's like a 70 plus overall actual position player, not just a bunch of long snappers, I'm not going to go through the trouble of negotiating a whole on contract for a freaking long snapper. I'm not going through that. I'm just not doing it. After they sign, it does reveal their dev traits, and I want to see if there's any. The fullback's a hidden dev. This free safety's hidden dev. Wide receivers hidden dev. So there's definitely a couple sprinkled in there, but it's like you never know. There's just like no way you never know. You just have to get lucky, and it's just not like I'm never gonna go and negotiate with a 66 rated right edge. It's just not happening. I mean, I don't really think there's like a good way to go about undrafted free agency. I guess it's no better just to have them all go into the free agent pool and you just have your pick of the litter, and have the first option to sign them all. But again, I'm just being honest with you. I'm just personally never going to go through the trouble to sign an undrafted free agent unless they're maybe over 70 rated in the position player, because the odds of you hitting on one being a hidden dev is so low. Bijan Robinson just signed a 9-year contract at the running back position, by the way. And in terms of the draft itself, I mean, there's 79 rated wide receiver that we got, which is solid. And I do want to see the ratings. Couple 80s, couple 82s, which is fine. No generational players, though, I would say, in this draft. Does look like you're able to find some good defensive tackles later in the draft again, because like there's a 4th round D tackle that's a 79 overall. There's some guards that you can find late, so it does seem like the rookie generation is maybe not identical, but like very similar to Madden 26, because again, like right out the get-go, it was always offensive guard, and it was always defensive tackle that you could find in the mid to late rounds that were just absolute studs, and really no other positions you could find that high rated that late. Yep, again, like all the players drafted on day 3 that are good, looks like they're offensive guards or defensive tackles. Mike linebacker snuck in there. I mean, there's definitely gonna be some outliers because I've seen a few in my other franchises, but it does seem like the only really good players that you're gonna find on a consistent basis on day 3 are offensive guards and defensive tackles. No good free agents at all make it to the following season, by the way. Now, at the start of season number 2, a few of the things I did want to look at is how many 99 overall players there are. Oh my god. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian Gonzalez, Pat Surtain, and Micah Parsons has joined the 99 club, with Bijan, Amon St. Brown, Joe Burrow, Jonathan Taylor kind of right behind him, and Fred Warner. Now, something I'm very interested in, because like remember, Lamar Jackson has like a 10-year contract. Because something I did notice is I think in season 2 they started to get a little bit more ridiculous. I know it doesn't get much more ridiculous than a 9-year contract extension, but like you start to see some big ones in season number 2, some long ones. Malik Willis spawned on the Cardinals somehow. Oh, there it is. He got traded to the Cardinals for James Daniels and a 5th round pick. So a few more very important things that I do want to test. But first of all, I'm just going to send to the end of season number 2, again, just to show you how crazy the contract re-signings get, and also see if there's any crazier trades that went down this season. Well, the Seahawks sucked again. Eagles, again, one of the best records in football at 14-3. I see the Ravens fell off a little bit, so not dominating every single season. Dolphins suck again, dude. I'm telling you, they win like 1 or 2 games every single season. I told you guys there was going to be some differences. Justin Herbert leads the league this year in passing yards. Shedeur Sanders, of all quarterbacks, in second with a pretty good season. I mean, Joe Burrow's still up there because he's a good quarterback and he got really good receivers. Got Sam Darnold up there, Bo Nix, Drew Aller. Mendoza looking good. Malik Willis definitely playing better as a Cardinal than he did as a Dolphin. I mean, Dolphins quarterbacks are just going to be banished to hell like every season season in franchise mode, apparently. They all suck. Ooh, like, see, very weird numbers. Patrick Mahomes only threw 18 passing touchdowns. If this was Madden 26, dude, he'd be throwing for at least 30, 40 every single season. So that's definitely an interesting note, and I don't know if that's like a common theme or not. Now, a common theme that we do have is Cam Scatterboo seems like he goes off every single season. 23 rushing touchdowns, which this is one of the first few things that does worry me in terms of simulation, because this does seem like a common theme. Cam Scatterboo specifically is always up there. This was the same thing last year. It was always Cam Scatterboo was all, for whatever reason, simulation a stud. But there's definitely some differences, man. Like Saquon's up there. He wasn't really last year. Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery. I really wonder if the Chiefs decided to run the ball just a lot more this season. Josh Jacobs still quite a bit up there, but like definitely not leading the league or anything. He definitely fell off. But again, not hating the sim stats too much. Jerry Jeudy leading the league this season on the Browns. JSN up there. Jamar Chase, Quinn Johnston, Trey Tucker, Devontae Smith. Again, for the majority, a lot of this is your team's #1 receivers. I really do think like the insanely long contracts are skewed towards running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks, because Jordan Love just got a 9-year extension. Jordan Addison, 8-year extension. Bo Nix, 8-year extension. That's just so, like, how does that happen? I mean, I even feel like Roger McCreary getting 5 years is kind of crazy. Like in previous Maddens, you really wouldn't even see anybody but quarterbacks get more than 4 years. See, dude, like I gotta investigate this. How is Carson Schlesinger on the Bills? Like, I'm sure he got traded, but I told you guys good players could actually get traded. Now, I am very curious. Like, it doesn't make any sense. This is his 2nd year. How is he already getting a contract extension? He is in year #2. That's, like, you don't see that. So it does seem, like, very random, like, when players even get contract extensions. Like, why are they triggering so early? I love the fact that you can re-sign a player before they get to the last year of their deal, but you don't ever see players, like, sign contract extensions in the 2nd year of a 4-year contract. That's just weird. Here it is, trade deadline week. And this might be one of the instances where the Bills were trying to buy and the Browns were sellers, which doesn't make any sense trading one of your best young pieces to the Bills for Christian Benford, a 3rd, 5th, and a 7th. I don't know about it, boys. He's one of the best young middle linebackers in football, which it definitely looks like it was the most ridiculous trade of the entire season by far. But at least we know they can happen. Justin Herbert wins MVP, Caleb Williams in 2nd. So yes, Joe Burrow doesn't win it every year. Even Shedeur Sanders up there in the top 10. But from here, fellas, one of the next big steps, and the biggest step in this experiment testing out Madden franchise, is simulating way into the future. Let's go about 7 years into the future and see if a lot of those quarterbacks actually make it past 35 years old like they wouldn't in previous Maddens. I want to see if teams are running the same offenses even though they have completely different personnel. I want to see how the progression system seems. Like, I want to see if any positions seem overpowered. Like, do we get 7 years in the future and there's like 20 95 plus overall quarterbacks? And most importantly, outside of that, I want to see if 7 years into the future, if anything in franchise mode breaks, because honestly, the possibility of that happening isn't zero. And also, do want to note that as somebody that makes a lot of videos, it does not seem, unfortunately, it does not seem at all like the simulating time is any faster. This is going to take me about 20 minutes to get to 2035. So unfortunately, I simulated a little bit too far after the 30 minutes of waiting to the end of the 2034 season, and I can look at every team here and look at the team overalls, and they seem very, very high. I mean, like, get teams like the Chiefs. I mean, Patrick Mahomes doesn't seem like he's there anymore. They're down to an 83, but like, yeah, 93 overall Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nobody in the game is that high to start in Madden 27, and we got the Buccaneers up there. The Cardinals are a 90 overall team, as they apparently have 99 overall Ruben Bain, 87 Chargers, 88 Cowboys. So the teams definitely are juiced up quite a bit. Bijan's still in the league. Like, at this point in time, the lowest rated team in the game, I mean, it's like an 83 overall Los Angeles Rams. Now, it looks like Sean McVay is still the head coach of the Rams at this point. So about 8 years into the future, we only actually have 399 overall players. There's a bunch that have a 99 with the morale boost and will probably become a 99 by the end of next season. But I find that very interesting. There's only 3 99s, only one of them being an auto-generated player. So that's like weird to me because like the teams are a lot higher rated than what they should be. But there's very few 99 overall players, and it looks like there's actually only 3 98s at this point. Dude, at this point in time, you got running backs still signing 6-year contract extensions. Igbuka just got a 5-year deal. I mean, he's got to be in his 30s. Shedeur on the Buccaneers now just has got 6 years. And again, he's got to be over 30 years old. Yeah, Will linebacker got a 6-year deal, so it's like the contract problem doesn't go away. Man, you got players like Eli Stowers retiring after 9 years, and like I don't even think he's 30 years old at this point. Will Anderson just retired at probably the age of, what, 32, 33? So I really don't know how much I trust the entire players play later if they're actually good in franchise mode. Now, I don't really trust that. CJ Stroud's gone after 12 years. Now, a good exercise here is actually to see who is the oldest player in the NFL at this point. 34, Peter Skoronski. Dude, I don't like that. Okay, you do have some older players. Brock Purdy's a 35, Bo Nix is a 35, but again, it doesn't look like players are playing past the age of 35 now. The oldest running back is 33. The oldest wide receiver is 34. I don't know, like, is it going to be in a future patch? It just did not look like players are playing older than what they did in previous Maddens, and I thought that was going to be important. Like, you typically see some good tight ends, like a Travis Kelce played to the 36, maybe 37, and the oldest tight end in football is Tucker Kraft. So we'll say, I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Again, I don't feel like they're just going to say they're going to do something and they don't, which it wouldn't be the first time. But I just genuinely don't like the fact they said that players can play older than they typically do, and there's just not anybody in the entire league over 35 years old at this point. The oldest tackle in the game is 31-year-old Will Campbell. True Williams is pushing 40, and he's still one of the best tackles in football, all while in this game, you don't make it past 31 years old at tackle. Like, offensive tackle is one of those positions where if you're good, like, you can be Lane Johnson and actually make it to at least 35. Oldest right tackle was Fuaga, and he's 33. Man, they gotta fix it. It's got me triggered. I do want to see if we pick up on any common themes, like any teams that are dominating. So we had, okay, back-to-back Super Bowl matchup as the Eagles did get revenge. Browns actually win a Super Bowl. Shedeur Sanders organically wins Super Bowl MVP. I think he's actually, isn't he not a member of the Buccaneers now? Jalen Hurts wins MVP that year, by the way. You have the Bills win their first ever Super Bowl. Joe Burrow wins another MVP. In 2030, we had the Giants win it all in dominating fashion, 31-3. Jackson Dart wins MVP. Cam Scatterboo, Super Bowl MVP. Giants actually went back-to-back here. Burrow with another MVP. So it does seem like Burrow's going to win a lot of MVPs. Oh, my Tennessee Titans. I will say this makes me happy. My Tennessee Titans win their first ever Super Bowl. Derek Stingley Jr., by the way, Super Bowl MVP. Chargers win over the Giants, so it does seem like the Giants do kind of dominate a little bit. And in 2034, my Titans lose their second Super Bowl. Shedeur Sanders, yep, on the Buccaneers, wins his second Super Bowl. So I did get a little worried because I'm looking at the passing stats years and years down the line. And Wyatt Cox on the Chargers is leading the league in passing yards, which we saw Justin Herbert do that a lot, but he was the third pick in the draft, so it's not like he's a stinker just randomly becoming a good quarterback. No, he's good with a good offense around him. We don't see any Bengals quarterback up here. Shedeur is still killing it, dude. What is he up to? An 84? Like, how's he putting up such good numbers? Glad to see Cam Ward still killing it. He made it up to an 86 overall. Drake May, Mendoza still up there. I really, really, really hope we don't go to rushing and we see a Giants running back. Number one, we see Genty. Love to see it. See, there we go. I mean, he's up there, Rudy Hagans, and he is an X factor, but again, at least he's not leading the league by a lot like Cam Scatterboo was. Now, it doesn't look like any career records have been broken, and I'm assuming that's because players don't play long enough. Jamar Chase did put up 2,000 yards in a single season, so that's nuts. Not to mention the 25 touchdowns. Oh, wow. I have never seen this before my freaking life. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, as a Packer, mind you, broke the all-time single-game receiving yard record with 362. Insanity. Absolute cinema. Best all-time player looks like Jamar Chase, looks like Joe Burrow. So you probably can't expect them to dominate, but I don't think, again, it's because of playbook. I think it's just because they're a good combination. Aaron Rodgers up there. Mahomes finishes 5. Kelce 6. Scatterboo 7. So he does have an insane career. Okay, this was kind of expected. Just like in Madden 26 franchise, years and years down the line, you always have a ton of really good kickers and punters make it to the following season's free agency. Brian Thomas is sitting here, so it definitely gets better over time. I don't know why that is, but it's the same trend that happened in Madden 26. So your free agents at the start of the year is going to suck until you get years and years down the line, and you actually got some studs. They might be older, but some good players. I feel like I noticed this in last year's Madden 2 when I simmed years into the future. For whatever reason, right tackles don't progress. Like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, A9's fine, but unlike the rest of the offensive line, like, just randomly, there's, like, no good right tackles that progress. Just like nothing makes sense, man. Just like in Madden 26, it's the same Madden 27, man. So I will say, fellas, I feel like I've really experimented with pretty much everything that we can do up to this point. Like, some good in there, but a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment, and again, a lot of things that still could be updated on Madden's end. Now, I've never done anything like this before, but I will give an overall genuine rating of Madden 27 franchise mode in its current state. And again, 3 weeks from now, it could be completely different if the issues get addressed, but in its current state, I don't think it's any better than like a 6 out of 10, if that. Maybe a 5.5 out of 10. Let's go with a 6 to be nice. A lot of potential, a lot of cool things added, but as I was afraid, in its current state, the execution just poor, man. Not to say we're not gonna have a lot of fun this year, but at the same time, I'll have more fun if they can fix this stuff. Now, if you did enjoy that, you can click right here to watch another Madden 27 video.